evening and welcome to Premier League Live this Tuesday evening. Tonight is the first of two great nights of jam-packed Premier League action here on LFS. Matchday 27 played over the course of this midweek with some huge fixtures on the billing. Tonight, our focus is on the South Coast as two seaside clubs continued their fight for European football as 9th place Brighton take on 6th place Bournemouth, with the latter having a chance to end the night in the top 4 with a win and results going their way. Alongside this one, there are 3 other games tonight, 2 of which at 7:30 as Crystal Palace continue their positive form as they welcome another Euro chaser as Aston Villa come to Sellers Park. Also, after a huge win at the weekend, Wolves host Fulham, with the hosts looking to further pull away from the relegation zone. Then the final of tonight's game sees Chelsea host bottom of the table Southampton at Stamford Bridge, with the home side another of the 3 teams who can find themselves in the top 4 come the night's end. That one kicks off at a later time of 8:15. Tomorrow night, Brentford host Everton, Ipswich head to Manchester United, Nottingham Forest take on Arsenal. Arsenal again clinging on to Liverpool's coattails. Can they keep the title race alive? Tottenham against Man City, and our focus game, Liverpool against Newcastle at Anfield. And on Thursday night, West Ham take on Leicester. So some incredible games to sink your teeth into right throughout this midweek on LFS, and we'll keep you right up to date with all the events around the grounds throughout tonight and tomorrow night, of course. But let's turn our focus back to matters in our commentary game tonight, Brighton against Bournemouth. And the team news makes for interesting reading as Fabian Hürzeler makes 2 changes to the side that thrashed Southampton 4-0 on Saturday for Brighton. Verbruggen starts in goal. Lamptey, Van Hecke, Webster the captain and Estupiñán in a back 4. Baliba and Gomez in a defensive midfield 2, with Jorginho Rutter in the 10, Minta off the right, Mitoma off the left, and João Pedro leading the line for Brighton. On the bench for the Seagulls, Rushworth, Hinshelwood, March, Adingra, Ayari, Wiefer, O'Reilly, Gruda and Welbeck. Bournemouth manager Andone Iraola also makes 2 changes from the team that were on the wrong end of a 2-0 scoreline at the Vitality Stadium to Wolves at the weekend. Starting in goal is Kepa, Hill, Cook, Huijsen and Kerkez in a back 4 with Cook the captain, Adams and Christie in a defensive midfield 2, Justin Kluivert in the 10, Brooks off the right, Semenyo off the left and Dango Ouattara leading the line. On the bench for Bournemouth, Dennis, Soler, Akimbone, Tavernier, Scott, Sinisterra, Winterburn, Evan Nielsen and Jebison. It's another South Coast tussle as 9th take on 6th in another battle for European places. Kickoff at the Amex Stadium is next. Good evening, welcome to LFS tonight for Premier League Live. I'm your commentator, Kevin Ferris. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already for this exciting one on the South Coast as Brighton take on Bournemouth. Looking forward to this one tonight. Looking forward to keeping you up to date with the games elsewhere. 2 other games kicking off at 7:30. As I already said, Palace against Villa and Wolves against Fulham. And then that 8:15 game at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Southampton. We'll keep you up to date with what happens from all of those games tonight, but our main focus, as I say, is here at the Amex, where Brighton take on Bournemouth. Brighton in their home strip of blue and white tops and blue shorts, and Bournemouth in their home strip of black and red shirts with black shorts this evening. As we get underway then for this one. Two sides with realistic hopes of European football come next season face off to see which one is the stronger in their second meeting of the season. Differing results at the weekends and hoping for a good result tonight of the two teams. As Bournemouth off to a quick start here. Semenyo down the left-hand side. Dinking his way through. Feeds it on for Kirkes, but the overlap, the pace on that ball was just too much for Milos Kirkes to keep it in play. But flying out of the traps there were Bournemouth, and almost getting something down that left-hand side. There's no short of weapons in this team for Bournemouth. There's no shortage of weapons in Brighton's team either. Two very well matched sides in the Premier League this season. So many teams that are so equally matched in the Premier League this season. And that's what makes the European battle so interesting and so intriguing as we enter the final 11 games of the season. Well, that's a cheap giveaway in midfield there. And here's Ouattara breaking through for Bournemouth. Christie! Good shot, well saved by Verbruggen. Good early pressure from Bournemouth, but was a cheap giveaway in the midfield by Brighton. Couldn't really see who it was that gave the ball away, but it was well picked up and well pressed by Bournemouth. As they do again with Kluivert's, but that time it is a foul. See this again. The breakaway, it was Ryan Christie, just breaks into midfield. It's a bit of a lazy ball across the midfield there. I think it might have been Carlos Baleba that played the ball across. Christie steps in, wins it, drives into the box, and as he cuts to the left-hand side, he takes that shot with his left foot across goal. Well saved by Bart Verbruggen to deny him, but Bournemouth really starting the better of the two teams here in these early moments. Foul there on Milos Kirkes as the throw-in was taken. Jorginho Rutter, the one that was penalised for that. As Huijsen tries to go for the switch ball, but far too overhit to David Brooks. Goal kick. Sorry, throw-in, apologies, not goal kick. Not that far. Referee this evening, Michael Oliver. Our VAR, Matt Donoghue, for this game. Hopefully the less VAR intervention, the better, really. It seems to be. A lot of controversy over recent VAR interventions. Always seems to be recent controversy about VAR involvement in the Premier League games. Here's Huijsen. Kirkes tried to play it first time. Intercepted, but well won back by Kluivert, who gives it away cheaply. Now Gomez, down the right-hand side it comes now for Minta, but well matched by Dean Huijsen. Gives it off to Milos Kirkes. Two players actually for Bournemouth, Kirkes and Huijsen, that might be nicked away from the club in the summer. With some top clubs sniffing around the high-performing Bournemouth players this season. And two of their back four certainly up there in the scouting lists of those top clubs. Although if Bournemouth get themselves a European place, they could stake a claim that maybe they can join one of those top clubs in competing, being in Europe. Here is Verbruggen on the edge of his own 6-yard box. Gives it out wide to Van Hecke. Chips it over the midfield and over the head of Jorginho Rutter and allowing Bournemouth back on the ball. Here's Adams, who just about sees that one out for a throw-in down the left side. We have a goal to tell you about. It's come at Molineux. Of course, Bournemouth were beaten by the side that are now trailing at Molineux. Wolves beat Bournemouth 2-0 at the weekend, but they find themselves 1-0 down inside the early minutes. In the first minute, Ryan Sessegnon with the goal. Fulham already ahead, looking to make up for the fact that they were beaten at the weekend by Crystal Palace and looking to bounce back with a bit of excitement for that one tonight. It is Wolves 0, Fulham 1. Ryan Sessegnon with the goal. Former Tottenham player there. Sessegnon, first goal of the night. Throw in down the right-hand side for Brighton. Intercepted well by Adams and sent the ball in behind for Ouattara, but deemed to have committed a foul on Van Hecke. Free kick to Brighton. As I said, a good intriguing battle this one tonight between the two sides. Very little between them, as I said. Just 3 points separate these two teams. Bournemouth starting the night in 6th. Brighton starting the night in 9th. Of course, Brighton on 40 points. Bournemouth on 43. Bournemouth with a draw tonight would find themselves up to 5th if results stay as they are. They would be up to 5th, Bournemouth, but would only be in 4th if they win this evening, because they would have a better points tally than the side in 4th, which is Manchester City. We can give you a little reminder of the starting 11s. Those are the starting 11s at the bottom of your screen, if you're ever so interested, just to keep an eye on those. We'll keep those up until a substitute is made, and something we're trying out for you. Just try and give you as much of an updated experience as possible, really, in the game. Free kick here for Brighton, just inside Bournemouth's half. Van Hecke will take. Down the right-hand side it goes, but Minter chests it, but straight out of play for a Bournemouth throw. Huyson goes long with his kick. Intercepted well down that right side. Gomez tried to keep it in play. Of course, Diego Gomez, 21-year-old Paraguayan, joined Brighton in the January window on New Year's Day for £10.5 million from Inter Miami. It's actually his first start in the Premier League for Brighton tonight. Made 4 previous appearances, but all off the bench as they win the ball high up here. Mitoma breaking through. The chip ball from Estupiñán. Couldn't find a teammate as Baleba tries to recycle it at the edge of the box. Now Minter with a deep cross. Punched away. Not cleared though. Rutzer with a follow-up. Headed wide. That was good pressure from Brighton. Their first real confident attack of the night. It comes down that left side. The ball comes in. It's cleared away by the Bournemouth players, the Bournemouth defenders. Falls to Baleba on the edge of the D. He feeds it wide to Minter with a deep cross into the box. And Kepa commits himself. He punches in the air, but doesn't punch it clear of danger. And it dips for Jorginho Rutzer in the box to an empty net in front of him. And he completely misses the target. Big chance that. Their first real opportunity of the game for the visitors. Or for the home side, sorry. The visitors certainly starting the quicker of the two teams, but Brighton starting to settle a little bit more into the game. A little bit more possession. Van Hecke goes direct with that free kick. Tried to find Mitoma. Well defended back there by Hill. Again, Bournemouth can't keep the possession for the moment. Rutzer lays it off to Gomez in behind. Mitoma! Oh, hits it wide. Kepa committed himself again and was beaten to it by the Brighton winger Karu Mitoma with a lovely run in behind. Diego Gomez with a beautiful, beautiful threaded through ball. Again, really nice, cute football in the middle from Brighton. Pedro, Rutzer linking it up, finding Gomez, and Gomez's ball in behind. Mitoma makes a beautiful run off the defender, and he just clips it wide. Again, Kepa committed himself. It was in no man's land, really. 2 positive moments for Brighton in the last 2 minutes or so. Certainly in the ascendancy at the minute. Lovely little flick by Gomez again. In behind for João Pedro. Takes around the goalkeeper. Kepa again committed. Penalty to Brighton. Michael Oliver points to the spot. Already Kepa Arrizabalaga committed himself twice in no man's land, and for a third time in the first 10 minutes, this time the most crucial one and the most costly run into his box. charging out at the attacker. Does he get a touch on the ball there, Kepa? Let's see it again. Pedro breaks in behind. No. Pedro does really, really well. You see the replay from the reverse angle. João Pedro just nicks the ball away with his left foot, making it impossible for Kepa to get any of the ball. And he just takes out João Pedro. You got to be honest, that is certainly a penalty. And I don't think VAR will overturn this. Matt Donoghue doesn't, so the on-field decision stands. And Brighton have a penalty. Pedro won it. Looks like João Pedro's going to take it. It's definitely a penalty, you got to be honest. One-on-one with the goalkeeper who commits himself, who looked scrambly already. Kepa Arrizabalaga. And the third of those type of incidents proves the most costly. But can he make up for that mistake by denying João Pedro from the spots? A clinical finisher. Stepping up for Brighton. Pedro against Kepa. João Pedro scores! Didn't really have to find a corner to get that one into the back of the net. Kepa dove to his left and João Pedro just rolled it in the other side of the corner of the net. And Brighton take the lead from the penalty spot. And it's all Kepa Arrizabalaга's fault, really. A terrible commitment to jump and charge at João Pedro one-on-one. Takes him out to give away the penalty. And then practically dives out of the way of the penalty. It's just slotted well. Really good pace, really good quality. And Brighton take the lead. Lovely, lovely penalty by João Pedro. And after a difficult start, really, barring no real fruit for Bournemouth, let's be honest, their little 2-3 minute spell at the start of the game, but Brighton certainly taking control of it now, and now have that goal advantage. Trying to respond quickly there, Semenyo, and Kluivert's couldn't keep that one in play. Goal kick to Brighton. Well, Andone Iraola won't be happy. The fact that his side have basically caused their own problems so far, especially their goalkeeper. By the way, that was João Pedro's 7th Premier League goal of the season, and his 3rd goal involvement in his last 2 games. He got a goal and an assist against Southampton at the weekend, and that's his 3rd in 2 games now in terms of goal involvements. Here are Bournemouth trying to respond. Kluivert in the box. Well challenged by Van Hecke. Fabulous defending from Brighton there when it looked like Bournemouth had carved them open. Kerkez stepping in field, goes down. No foul, but the referee will now pull it back. He was initially going to give the advantage, the referee. Kerkez steps in field, kind of shoved and pushed by Jorginho Rutter. And that gets Bournemouth a free kick. Energetic start to this game. And ready, the deadlock broken. A chance for Bournemouth to respond now. Brooks is the one over it. Left-footed delivery, whipped deep. Far too deep even for Verbruggen to get a hand to. He might have actually got a touch to it, actually, the Brighton goalkeeper. He did. Corner. See this again. It's a whip ball by Brooks. Far too deep for any of his teammates. And for a second there, it looked like it just sailed over the head of Verbruggen, but I think he might have got a fingertip to it. Well, the officials certainly thought so. And it will be a corner to Bournemouth. Maybe a bit silly from the goalkeeper's point of view. Corner taken short. Cook lays it off to Brooks. Back to Lewis Cook. He's forced it all the way back there. That's fantastic pressing from Brighton. They try and swing it out to Brooks again. Cook takes the touch in field. A bit of space ahead of him here, Lewis Cook. And just falls to the ground. And now Brighton come away with the ball. Gomez on the charge. Taken down. Referee's going to continue the play though. Minte. Through ball now. Rutter. Bodies forward. Rutter in the box. Cuts it back. Well blocked. and cleared away eventually by Ryan Christie, who comes away with the ball. Brooks now through to Ouattara, who takes a loose touch. Will continue through to Van Hecke, who absolutely hacks at the attacker. Bit of a scramble here. Semenyo on the edge, trying to work out a shot. The shot's taken by Christie, well charged down. Still alive. Adams. Ouattara down the left side. Ouattara with a low cross, bobbling around. And Semenyo had the last touch. Goal kick. My goodness me, a minute or two there were end to end. Yeah, it was good work from Ouattara. Got the ball into the box. No one there to really meet it. Little deflection off Lamptey, and Baleba played it off his own teammate in Van Hecke, and then it inadvertently came off Antoine Semenyo, saving Brighton's bacon there, getting them a goal kick. From a bit of pressured and not well dealt with defensively in that occasion, Van Hecke absolutely hacked his man. The referee did well to play advantage and ultimately couldn't find the net, Bournemouth, but certainly the right decision from the referee to allow play to continue. Of course, Michael Oliver has come under a bit of criticism from a certain fan base in the Premier League that he might be biased. Of course, there are no actual solid claims that that's the case. Of course not. And neither do we condone such comments about such a respected official. People make mistakes, but I don't think Michael Oliver is corrupt in that sense. Semenyo with the ball in, and the header from Ouattara is up over the bar. Decent effort from Bournemouth that time. It's again well worked by Semenyo. The run of Kerkez just takes the defender away from him. Lamptey maybe just a bit distracted by the run inside him, and allows that little bit gap of space for Semenyo to drive in field and try and whip the ball into the box. But the header from Ouattara was over the bar. Chested down by Lamptey, but Semenyo there trying to win it. Gives away the foul on Tariq Lamptey. Well, the reverse fixture was a tight one at the Vitality. The home side took the lead early in the game, and João Pedro found the nets in the for the first goal for Brighton in the reverse fixture, but the second was found by Mitoma in the second half. Baleba got a second yellow card in that game, and David Brooks got a late consolation for Bournemouth in the reverse fixture. Brighton winning by 2-1. Now they want to add to their lead here with this break. Pedro into the box. Tried to find Mitoma, well charged down, but kept alive by Gomez. And now Ruter tried to chip it. Gets another chance. Georgina Ruter charged down. Again, much better from Brighton. Sustaining attacks really confidently. Bournemouth struggling a little bit to deal with those physicality of Brighton in the attacking areas at the minute. Credit to Dean Howson. He made a good block on the Ruter shot. It was calmly dealt with by Diego Gomez under pressure. All the way back now with Webster. Van Hecke. Into Gomez again. Through the lines, Ruter with space to turn. Finding Minta. Minta onto his left. Minta! Straight at the goalkeeper. Again, much better play in between the lines from Brighton. Again, it's poor covering from Bournemouth's point of view. Ruter given the time and space to turn on the ball and find a pass and thread it through to Yankuba Minta, and then just tries to nick it round his man and Howson, and easily just gathered by Kepa. And there's a stoppage in play now. Ryan Christie has gone down, so we do have a stoppage, which allows you to, us to tell you that we've another goal to tell you about, and it's come at Molineux. Fulham took the lead inside the first minutes. 17 minutes later, Wolves are level. João Gomez with the equaliser. Set up by Nelson Semedo. It's 1-1. Since the goal, or since the first 5-10 minutes of the game, it's been all Wolves in the match. And they certainly have the fruits of their labour, as they say. They've had 7 shots so far, Wolves. Fulham with just the 1 shot in the game, which was their goal. So certainly all Wolves since the opening goal. And they have their equaliser, 1-1. Of course, Wolves with that big victory over Bournemouth at the weekend. Kind of giving themselves a little bit of space between them and the bottom 3. They actually went 5 points clear of the bottom 3 with that victory over Bournemouth at the weekend, and all 3 teams in the relegation zone all losing, conceding 4 goals at home. So quite a parity there. If they pick up any points tonight, surely Wolves are well on their way to safety. But of course, all 3 teams below them will all still play this weekend, coming later this week. Southampton play later on this evening, and then Ipswich and Leicester play tomorrow night and Thursday night respectively. So a lot to still see, but Wolves have their leveller and they're working back into this game. Back here at the Amex though, Ryan Christie is up and to the sidelines after receiving a bit of treatment, and we will get back underway with Kepa kicking this one long. Christie waiting for the signal from the referee to return to the field of play, so Bournemouth down to 10 for the moment. The referee waves Christie back on. Absolutely clatters a man. There it is, Ryan Christie. No foul. Just a throw into Bournemouth. See this again. It was Carlos Baleba that was absolutely clattered by Ryan Christie. He was waved on by the referee and he came charging onto the field and just stood like a brick wall right in front of Carlos Baleba. No foul, said the referee. No trouble or damage done really in the end. Here's Estupiñán. Plays the ball off David Brooks. Wins the throw in for his side down that left hand side of the pitch. Halfway through the first half, Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. João Pedro converting from the penalty spot after 10 minutes. Actually, there was a stat I read before the game about Bournemouth about João Pedro, or about Brighton about João Pedro, and how he scored most recently the first goal in a lot of Brighton's games at home. Oof. See a replay of a little challenge there, Christie on Pedro. Little bit of a look there. VAR were having a little look, but no further action taken by the VAR this evening. Play on was the eventual call. Lamptey, another crunching challenge, but fairly won from the referee's point of view by Tyler Adams. But Semenyo curtailing that attack there as the ball went out of play. See this again. Lamptey still down. Another crunching challenge. Comes sliding in and kind of leads with his knee, so there was no real major danger in terms of leading with his studs there from Tyler Adams. But it's a fair challenge. Crunching one, but a fair challenge. Tyler Adams, of course, not his first rodeo in the Premier League. I didn't actually mean to say that Premier League term, or that Americanism. But he does have a previous Premier League season with another club. Leeds, of course, in 2022-23. He had 24 starts for Leeds in the Premier League that year, of course. A very good season for Leeds. Didn't register a goal or assist in that season, though. Maybe that's just not his game. Did make a good appearance. I'm going to make a change now at Bournemouth, and Ryan Christie, who was receiving treatment a number of minutes ago is now going to leave the field of play, which will be a disappointing end to the evening for him. And he's coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Alex Scott, a 21-year-old who had a bit of a real injury problem, out for over 3 months between October and late February. Made his return to the side the game before last, 2 games ago, in that 3-1 victory over Southampton. That was his first appearance since the 19th of October in a 2-0 win over Arsenal. Has been a bit of a barren spell and a horrid spell of injury time for Alex Scott. It's good to have him back, of course. You know, you never want to see injured players in football, but one that's just come back from injury, there might be another one going out the door for Bournemouth onto the injury list. Ryan Christie replaced. Nice turn there by Baleba, breaking into space. Semenyo on the cover, and ends up committing the foul. Antoine Semenyo, which he is arguing with the referee about. And he's told to come over by the referee, so going to have a chat with him here, Michael Oliver. See the challenge again. I mean, a little tug on the right shoulder of Baleba. There's not major contact, so I can see why Antoine Semenyo was a little bit disappointed and a little bit annoyed, but it looked like a little bit of a foul. And referee Michael Oliver saw it that way and gave a free kick for Brighton. He's now talking to Tyler Adams about that. Not too sure why he's talking to Tyler Adams. He's not the Bournemouth captain, but okay. Free kick to Brighton anyway, just inside Bournemouth's half. And Hecka darting it out to Mitoma. Brought down well by Estupinian. Now Gomez threading it through. Blocked off well by Lewis Cook. Again, not able to sustain possession. Bournemouth as Webster nips through. Webster in the box now. Carried wide. Kept the ball up the field though. Estupinian with a cross. Pedro met it, and he's going to get the foul given against him here for a slight nudge on the Bournemouth defender in James Hill. Game has had a little bit of a lull in the last few minutes. That's a nice ball over the top though from Bournemouth, and Semenyo tried to cross. Blocked by Lamptey, and Bournemouth get a corner. Lamptey thought that the last touch was off the Bournemouth man in Semenyo, but the officials deem it a corner. We'll see a replay if we can get a good look at it. Might have looked like a little nick off Semenyo, but no real clear evidence. Corner for Bournemouth. Whipped in from the left side. Headed down into the mix, but easily gathered by Bart Verbruggen. It's only the second corner of the game. That one that was just delivered. We have a goal in the only game of our 7:30s that didn't have a goal before this. The deadlock is broken at Sellers Park. Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. An Aston Villa side who can be one of those number of teams that can find themselves in the top 4 tonight with a win. Alongside Bournemouth and Chelsea. And they're the 3 teams that can find the top 4 tonight. But it's not going the way of the Villains, because the Eagles are having their say. It's Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 0, and the scorer in that one is Ismaila Sarr. Although there is a VAR check, so we'll keep you up to date with that. VAR are checking for possible offside in the build-up, so we will keep you updated. So goal given on the field, but VAR reviewing at this minute in time. Here is Hill, breaking out with the ball, finds Hoosen. Semenyo lost it first time, won it back. Gives it back to Hill now. way back to Kepa. 30 minutes gone. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0 so far. Brighton have looked the more fluid in the final third of the two teams, as that's a nice ball by Semenyo, and Ouattara breaking in behind, no flag. The cut back, shot by Kluivert, deflected down to Ouattara. Flicks it in behind for Kerkez with a cross, too high. Around the other end, Cook to deliver it back in, but it will go behind for a goal kick. The flag stayed down there. It looked like a hint of offside against Dango Ouattara, but the assistant kept the flag down. Didn't really see the replay. The cutback from Ouattara to Kluivert blocked, fell to Ouattara again, who flicked it around the outside for Kerkez, who put the cross in too much, and then the returning Lewis Cook, trying to deliver it back in from the other side, but didn't get the connection on it. Goal kick. Again, a little bit better from Bournemouth. Ouattara with a high boot there. Had to be careful. Did pull out of it just in time, Dango Ouattara, against Van Hecke, but the foul still given the way of Brighton. Of course, there has been a return to a few players for Bournemouth from injury. They had a real injury crisis this season. They have had a consistent forward line. They've had a consistency of those attackers. A real dominant attacking force this season, Bournemouth. 7 goals from Dango Ouattara this season. Justin Kluivert making himself known. 11 Premier League goals for him in 25 previous appearances this campaign. Antoine Semenyo also getting himself amongst the list. 7 goals from him. David Brooks, the change tonight in that front four to the starting 11. Of course, coming in ahead of Marcus Tavernier to the starting 11 tonight. He has 2 Premier League goals. So a combined 27 goals in the Bournemouth front four this evening. They've scored 44 this season, and 27 of them have come from the starting front four tonight. Scott. Cook wins it for a throw down the right hand side. As I said, the game has kind of ebbed and flowed in the last 10 minutes or so. There's not been real dominant side of the two teams so far. Possession's almost 50-50 really at this stage. The big difference is the scoreline. Brighton lead by that goal to 0. Bournemouth search for that equalising goal. Here's Ouattara. Feeds it in behind. Semenyo made the run. He's got the pace, the beating of the Brighton defence. Antoine Semenyo hits it straight at Verbruggen, who makes a good save. Semenyo probably should do better from that position. Not fully dealt with though this time by Brighton. Adams finding Kerkez. Back to Tyler Adams. And we'll give it across the hill. That was a much better run in behind from Bournemouth. Ouattara had one a little earlier on, and now with Semenyo getting in on the action. Certainly looks where Bournemouth can threaten Brighton as those runs in behind. The pace of that front line looks to be superior to the Brighton defence. Adams. Hill. Cook back to James Hill. Back across to Tyler Adams. He has space ahead of him, looking for that pass. Gives it out wide to Dean Huyson. Now finding Adams. Back across to Hill. Just over 10 minutes to go the first half. Bournemouth popping the ball around here. Kerkez linking it up with Kluivert. But the ball rolled out of play for a throw-in. Again, Semenyo and Ouattara linking up. It was Semenyo playing Ouattara in behind about 5 minutes ago, and the reverse has happened here. It was Ouattara fed it through for Semenyo, bursting in behind the right back and the right centre-back of Brighton in Van Hecke and Lamptey, and bursting in behind made that run diagonally across the defence and hit the strike right at Bart Verbruggen. Wanting pace rather than accuracy on that one from Antoine Semenyo, and well dealt with by the Brighton goalkeeper. Pressure here as Verbruggen has to send it high into the air. Semenyo won the header, but Van Hecke thumps at clear danger. Cook with the overhead kick. Finding Scott. Adams with a bit of head tennis now is Ouattara. Almost finding Justin Cliver, but well dealt with by Adam Webster, who got in the way of that one. Certainly an equality between these two teams. It's Baleba. Minter with a nice turn. Ruter, lovely ball out wide. Lamptey on the overlap. Across. Mitoma off the post. Big chance. Massively not taken from Brighton's point of view. As now Bournemouth want to conjure a counter-attack. Semenyo. Brooks now. Bodies flooding forward. Bodies flooding back. And as the defenders that come out on top that time for Brighton, they want to return the favour. Gomez. And Ruter, not in a hurry, turns it back. But that was fabulous little play by Brighton again. They just turn it on all of a sudden. And the bursting pace from them. Lovely little quick intricate passes in the central areas. But carving Bournemouth open time and time again. Those defence splitting passes. Just carving them open. Slicing their way through. And Ruter with a lovely ball wide to the overlapping Lamptey, and the cut across to Mitoma, who took it first time on the volley, and it came crashing off the right hand post. Brighton coming the closer to getting the next goal. Adams, nice ball through to Kluivert, not finding any space. Justin Kluivert, and dispossessed there by Carlos Baleba. Not seen very much of Justin Kluivert so far. A lot more of Semenyo and Matara in that attack of Bournemouth. Not much of Justin Kluivert. Just see that chance again. It's a fabulous acrobatic effort from Kaoru Mitoma. We saw his first touch for the wonder goal he scored a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely sensational. But that one was just pure acrobatics. His balance, the power, the ability to take it on the volley from that sort of position, just quite incredible. And if it had found the back of the net, it certainly would have been making the highlights reel for one of the goals of the season. Absolutely wonderful team effort. It would have been a wonderful team goal from Brighton if Mitoma could have found the back of the net, but hitting the woodwork. Actually faced the side tonight, Brighton, that have hit the woodwork the most times in Bournemouth of any Premier League side this season. Bournemouth have hit the woodwork 16 times this campaign. That was the 9th time that Brighton have hit the woodwork so far this season. Ruter again, nice little touch in a tight space against Adams. Here's Gomez. Adjusting, Minter now, finding Pedro. Gives it back to Lamptey. Wide on the right. Now Pedro again. João Pedro trying to thread it through, but well blocked by Huijsen. And Kluivert trying to conjure a counter and finds the space for David Brooks to break. 3 on 3. Brooks going himself. Well blocked by Van Hecke. Maybe got a little bit greedy there, David Brooks. He had options in Ouattara and Semenyo with him. Decided to go himself. And the shot was well charged down by the Brighton defender, Jean-Paul Van Hecke. End-to-end stuff at the minute. Estupiñán now finding Mitoma, chopping into the box. A little bit of bobbling around, and the ball ends up going behind. of a Bournemouth player, and Brighton will get the corner. 5 minutes to go with the half. Mitoma starting to show his quality. And a quiet first 40 minutes. Mitoma till he hit the post. Now getting Brighton a corner. Actually, their first of the game so far. The two previous corners, both Bournemouth corners. So Brighton's first corner of the game. On this left side. Estupinian over it. Left-footed out swinger. Whipped across. Lamptey heads it back into the mix. Webster will deliver it out to Minta, who will whip it back round the back post. And too high for Pedro. And too far ahead of Estupinian tracking in. Goal kick. Decent effort. Decent opportunity. It was a lovely idea from Webster not to force it or take the shot himself. Just fed it back out to Minta. He has the wand of that left foot and just too much pace on it really from Yankuba Minta. In the right area. Just a little bit too much pace on it. We have another goal to tell you about. I did tell you that they were checking for that Crystal Palace goal earlier. Well, I haven't told you that it was ruled out, so clearly it stayed. But no longer is their lead intact because Aston Villa have got the leveller. Literally seconds ago. I've just seen the replay of it. And if I can gather who scored it, I believe it might be Morgan Rogers. See the replay. Yes, Morgan Rogers has levelled the game. It's Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 1 at Sellers Park. So 1-1 in that game, 1-1 at Wolves as well, 1-0 here. Bournemouth the only side out of the 6 that are playing at the minute that haven't scored yet. Here's a nice touch from Mitoma, took it round Hill. Lost it for a second, but gets it back, Mitoma. Well beaten by James Hill, and Lewis Cook using his experience to win the ball back. Mitoma there, starting to cause more of a threat down that left-hand side, and has a degree in dribbling, so... I mean, have you ever heard the like? A degree in dribbling. I mean, it sounds absolutely bonkers, but it's true. I mean, fair play to him. If you can dedicate 3 years to dribbling, then fair play to you. Roots there with a bit of a forced pass wide that time. Yankuba Minta did well to battle to try and win the ball back off Kerkez. It will just be a throw-in to Bournemouth. They are checking for a possible offside at Sellers Park, by the way. So Palace's goal was checked and cleared by VAR, but Villa's might not go the same way here. Might have been an offside in the build-up. We'll keep you informed. Here's Huyson finding Kerkez down the left side for Bournemouth. 90 seconds or so to go. Kerkez with a deep ball, but far too close to Bart Verbruggen. Came and gathered. I can tell you that VAR have had a look at the Villa goal and have ruled it out. Offside in the build-up. Ollie Watkins, who has played the ball by Morgan Rogers, was in an offside position in the build-up. So no goal. Still Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 0. That's well won by Van Hecke again, that time against Kluiverts. Oh, lovely little ball by Minta. And Pedro finding the space here. Minta gets it back down the right-hand side. Yankuba Minta into the box, dribbling. Couldn't find a pass. Keeps it alive, though, but Bournemouth come away with the ball with Scott, who skips away from a few. Brooks couldn't keep a hold of the ball. Seems like every time Bournemouth try and get forward, they just can't keep possession of the ball. Unless it's a run in behind, in between the lines, they are struggling to just break past the Brighton press at the minute. that compact midfield of Brighton, as we'll have 4 added minutes at the end of the first half. Ryan Christie's injury and the penalty, of course, contributing to the additional time we will have at the end of this half, as Kluivert tries to go himself and create a goal, create a solo chance, but again, firefighting there from Jean-Paul Van Hecke, dealing with the situation. Stalwart so far. The two Brighton centre-backs, Jean-Paul Van Hecke and Adam Webster. Verbruggen over the top. Bouncing ball left by Bournemouth. Mitoma making the run. Now Minta, he's got Pedro in the box. Minta tussling with Kierkees. Seen out well. Young Cuba Minta. Brighton keep the ball though. Estupinian. Webster. Poor pass. Estupinian there to latch upon it though. Gomez over the top, looking for Mitoma. Well defended by Huysen. But again, Brighton recycle the ball. Gomez. Estupinian. Down the left flank comes Mitoma. Drives infield, runs into trouble, skips away from trouble. Mitoma linking up with Ruter. Heavy pass. Couldn't keep Ruter on the ball. Bournemouth now springing a counter. Kierkees, well seen out by Van Hecke. He has been everywhere so far in this first half, Jean-Paul Van Hecke. Absolute stalwart at the back. Just unstoppable so far. I can tell you, kickoff at Stamford Bridge this evening. Chelsea against Southampton. That's just underway. That was an 8:15 kickoff, so about 2 minutes gone on that one. And we'll keep you up to date with that game now. So, more action. I have to say, this has been some half from Jean-Paul Van Hecke. Some incredible bits of defending at the back. Just putting out fires. Maintaining just a level of calmness in the Brighton defence that is so crucial in such an evenly matched game. Those are the little differences that can be the difference between winning and losing. Or winning and drawing, really, in such a well-matched fixture. Ruter not getting the battle there on the ball. Scott goes down. A free kick given to the visitors. He stretched for the ball there, Ruter, and the ball had already gone. Scott was taken down. I think Andoni Iraola just needs to tell his players to be a bit more aggressive. As Kluivert trying to be a bit more aggressive against Baleba and loses out. That was fabulous from Baleba. Swings it wide now for Mitoma. Charging his way through, goes for the cross. Too far ahead of João Pedro. And Kepa committed that time and gathered well. As Kierkees skips away from the challenge. Stepping in field, Milos Kierkees running into bodies, going down. The referee is just going to stop the game. I don't think he's given a foul. I think he's just going to stop the game for the minute with Milos Kierkees on the ground. Andoni Iraola holding up 3 fingers, maybe insinuating that's the 3rd time that he felt he was fouled in the game. Yeah, Carlos Baleba absolutely smashing through the back, through the ball, and then as he follows through, he kind of hits Kierkees and hits him in the face as well with his leg. Kierkees was already on the floor. Maybe a bit too aggressive that time from Carlos Baleba. Four minutes are certainly up in this first half, but with the stoppage at the minute, I play an extra 10, 15, 20 seconds. Verbruggen goes long, and there is the end of the first half. A first half that has been full of action, full of entertainment, and full of excitement. Good attacking football from both teams, you gotta say. But so far, the fluidity, the quality, the movement, the intricacy of Brighton so far is what has them ahead, and John Paul Van Hecke needs a round of applause for that first half defensive performance. He's been everywhere. Those are the fine margins in a game like this, but it is João Pedro's penalty from the 12th minute. It has Brighton leading at the break. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. Analysis and updates from around the grounds on the way next. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time here on LFS. So our first night of 2 nights of Premier League action this midweek. 4 games underway. 3 of them at half-time. 1 not long underway at Stamford Bridge. So far, we're watching Brighton against Bournemouth. It is 1-0 to Brighton at the break. João Pedro's penalty after 12 minutes has given Brighton the lead, but there have been chances at either end before and after that. And that is the way we stand, though none of them going into the back of the net. But some close calls for both defences, but still Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0 at the break. Crystal Palace leading Aston Villa by the same scoreline at Sellers Park. There was a scare that Aston Villa were back in the game when Morgan Rogers put into the back of the net, but a offside in the build-up disallowed that goal. The earlier goal from Palace, the only goal of that first half that stood from Ismaila Sarr, was also checked for an offside in the build-up, but this one given. So Crystal Palace with the narrow advantage over Aston Villa. An Aston Villa side who, if they win tonight, could find themselves in the top 4 come the night's end. One of 3 teams that could happen to this evening. But at the moment not going their way. And Crystal Palace certainly continuing their uptick in form and could make, I mean, could's a big word, but could make a late chase if they can keep themselves in this good run of form for a bit of European football. And certainly a chase for it anyway. We will see, but only half-time gone there. Half-time as well at Molineux. Wolves against Fulham. Differing results for these 2 sides in their previous games. Wolves winning 2-0 at Bournemouth. Fulham losing 2-0 to Crystal Palace. At the moment, they're evenly matched in the Black Country at Molineux. Ryan Sessegnon gave Fulham the lead after just a minute in the game, in the first minute of the game, to take the lead. But João Gomez, after that one, equalising for Wolves. It was all Wolves up until the equaliser, as ebbed and flowed throughout the first half. But Wolves certainly the better side of the 2 teams and with the better chances, but it's still 1-1. And around 8 minutes or so gone in that game at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea against Southampton. Chelsea, another one of the 3 teams that can find themselves in the top 4 tonight with a win. They are currently drawing 0-0 with bottom of the table Southampton, who have lost 21 of their 26 Premier League games this season. Southampton, 2 wins and 3 draws in their other 5 fixtures. They are the lowest scorers, the highest conceders. They are bottom of the table, still with single-digit scoreline points. And they are at the moment below that record. 11 points is the lowest ever points tally of a Premier League season, set by Derby back in 2007-8. But Southampton could be on course to change that, but they could eradicate that if they win at Stamford Bridge this evening. We will see. It's 0-0 there at the moment. We'll talk about tomorrow night's fixtures very shortly. There's 6 games still to come after tonight. 5 coming for you tomorrow night, and we'll keep you up to date with all of those games tomorrow night. But let's talk about tonight and what we've seen in that first half between Brighton and Bournemouth. 1-0 to Brighton, of course, at the half. And that goal coming from João Pedro from the penalty spot after 12 minutes. The penalty, fair decision. I said it in the build-up to the penalty. Kepa looked really nervous at the start, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, and he's the one that makes the mistake that leads to the penalty, really. Made two early moments in the first 8-9 minutes before the penalty was given. He committed in 2 occasions, and he was right in no man's land. He was almost caught out. Jorginho Rutter hit a header wide, and then there was another one where he committed and almost took out a man and got a bit lucky that he ended up not connecting. And then the third one, he comes crashing out one-on-one against João Pedro. I get he might try and close the angle and try and suffocate it, but he ends up really smart from Pedro, nips the ball away, completely taken out by Kepa Arrizabalaga, and it's definitely a penalty, no doubt about it. Well spotted by the referee Michael Oliver. Matt Donoghue, the VAR, confirming the right decision was made on the field, and a penalty was the decision. But again, and I'll talk about the penalty actually before I move on. The penalty, really good quality penalty in the end. Kepa dove to his left, and as in true penalty style, the best penalty takers either smash it and don't give a care what happens, or they wait for the goalkeeper to make a little move before they slot it in, and João Pedro certainly one of those. He slotted it into the left corner, and Kepa dove the opposite direction. Didn't have to find the corner because Kepa was already diving the wrong way. So that's the benefit of those types of penalties. Waiting for the keeper to make a little nick and move and make your decision then about where you're going to put the ball afterwards. It just gives you that little bit of leeway. Even if you don't find the corner, you've got a big section of the goal to find. And again, did very well, João Pedro, so far. But I have to say, credit has to come a lot of the way for Brighton, because they've looked really competitive, really incisive in their passing, really intricate, really sharp. All of these words that we say all the time about the top teams and the best teams in the league, they're consistently delivering week in, week out. Brighton look really strong so far tonight, and I think early in the game I would have to argue that maybe Mitoma struggled in the first few minutes to get onto the game, but he hit the post, and that kind of burst him into life around about the last 10 minutes of the first half. And again, it all comes from really good intricate football. Fabulous little run by Rutter, makes the run, plays it off to Gomez. Gomez squares it across right to the far right hand side for Yankuba Minteh. I'll see it again actually here. Yeah, the ball given away. Baleba plays it into Minteh. It's Minteh actually, that lays it off to João Pedro. Pedro with the ball out wide to Lamptey, and Lamptey across, and it's come all the way through. And Mitoma on the volley, acrobatically, fabulous acrobatics, with his right leg in the air on the volley, and crashes it off the right post. Big chance for him. He had 1 or 2 other little chances, but nothing of real great note other than that. Brighton had a couple more chances, but nothing, as I said, of clear-cut. Bournemouth have come close. Semenyo heading against the goalkeeper, and a couple of nervy moments from Verbruggen, but some good moments as well. But credit to, I have to say, Jean-Paul Van Hecke, who's been absolutely everywhere for Brighton at the back in that first half, charging down, closing things off. Absolutely fantastic display from him defensively so far in that first half. Bournemouth, I think, have kind of lost their way a little bit in the first half. When Brighton had that strong end of the half, they looked more likely to find a goal, but Bournemouth were looking a threat when they made those runs in behind with Tara and Semenyo. When they were making runs in behind the Brighton defence, they looked like they had the little bit stronger pace from those runs in behind against the Brighton defence, and that might be something that Antonio Areola might try and tune into and kind of tweak for the second half, and tell them to go in behind a little bit more, make those runs, maybe balls over the top, just test Brighton in a different way. And certainly coming through the middle in those tight spaces in the central areas, Bournemouth have struggled. But when they're playing those balls in behind and balls over the top, when they're forcing the Brighton defence to charge back to their own goal, that's where Bournemouth look the better advantage. And look, they have the better advantage in attack. But other than that, I think Brighton have had fairly enough control out of possession against Bournemouth that they don't look majorly threatened defensively so far, but something for Andole Areola to deal with and try and figure out for Bournemouth. And they haven't lost back-to-back Premier League games since they lost against Brentford and Brighton back in November. They lost away to Brentford and then at home to Brighton back in November. That was the last time they lost back-to-back league games at Bournemouth, and it was only the second time of the season they lost back-to-back league games. They lost 2 of their first 3 back-to-back, of course, in the league. 2 of their first 5 back-to-back in the league, Chelsea and Liverpool. So want to avoid losing back-to-back games for the 3rd time this season, Bournemouth tonight. And if they can, they need a big second-half performance. But Brighton, well, they're in an uptick in form. 3 wins on the bounce. Back-to-back wins against Chelsea in the Cup and in the league. And then that thumping victory over Southampton in that 4-0 victory. The last time they conceded in the league was when they shipped 7 against Nottingham Forest at the start of February, 3 games ago. The last 2 games they've scored 7 goals and conceded none. So they've made up for the 7 they conceded against Forest in 2 games, scoring 3 against Chelsea and 4 against Southampton without conceding. Can they do the same again and make it 3 consecutive Premier League clean sheets? We will see. Brighton against Bournemouth. It's 1-0 at the break. But the second half on the way very shortly. Do stay with us. Back to Premier League Live. Don't forget, a big night of action in the Premier League. Second of 2 big nights of midweek Premier League action tomorrow night. We're at Anfield as the league leaders Liverpool look to once again consolidate their lead at the top. Of course, Arsenal play tomorrow night, so we'll see what happens there. Liverpool are focused as they take on Newcastle, a Newcastle side also chasing top 4 or top 5 at the moment in 6th as it stands with Chelsea drawing at home with Southampton. But we'll see how Newcastle can react to tonight's results at Anfield tomorrow. Liverpool looking to go for their 20th league win of the season if they win tomorrow night. That's amongst 4 other games. The Liverpool-Newcastle's tomorrow at 8:15, but there are 4 7:30 kickoffs. Brentford host Everton. Ipswich head to Manchester United. Nottingham Forest against Arsenal's a tough battle, and as is Tottenham against Manchester City. 2 very good ties to look forward to alongside that Liverpool-Newcastle game tomorrow night. 5 games for you in the Premier League tomorrow, and our feature is at Anfield. Right. Almost ready for the second half here this evening between Brighton and Bournemouth. Second half on the way in a moment. The second half is underway at Molineux. It's still goalless between Chelsea and Southampton in that game. They're still in the first half of that game. By the way, they're only 18 minutes gone and are about to get underway here and at Sellers Park as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We recently had 25,000 subscribers and we want to keep on building and keep on growing, and we thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening for this one. We couldn't do it without you, and we thank everybody who joins us week in, week out. We are indebted to your incredible loyalty, and we thank you all for joining us this evening for this one. We are about to get underway in a moment here at the Amex, but already a goal I'm hearing from one of the other games. Of course, there's only one other game that kicked off early underway for the second half, and that is at Molineux, where there's been another goal. Well, I'm hearing a hint of another goal. I believe Fulham have taken the lead again. They are 2-1 ahead now, Fulham. Of course, we'll wait on any further confirmation of maybe a VAR check or whatever, but at the moment, the goal has been given. Rodrigo Muniz has given Fulham the lead once again. It is Wolves 1, Fulham 2, as the second half has not long started. Second minute of the second half, and Fulham back in front. Changes incoming here at the Amex. I think it's only Bournemouth have made a change. We'll confirm that for you in a second. Bournemouth will get us underway for the second half in just a moment. And there we are. Kluivert gets us going for another 45 here at the Amex. And for Bournemouth, it's a 45 where they need to try and up their output and improve from their first half. Brighton, more the same. That's what Fabian Urtzler will be asking. They've come close to finding more than just the one goal in that first half. The woodwork denying them through Kairi Mitoma. One of their key chances to add to their lead, but still 1-0. So the game still hangs in the balance as we enter the second half here. I can tell you that Bournemouth have made their second change of the game. Although, hold on, Pedro's making a run in behind. That's well covered over by Milos Kerkez, who had to get there and did get there. Although, confident defending from Bournemouth that time. Hill. Cook chasing shadows. Here's Mitoma. Plays it on to Ruter. Gets to the byline. Challenging Tyler Adams. But Adams sees it out for a goal kick. That was smart defending from Tyler Adams. And an early threat there from Brighton again. As I was saying, Bournemouth have made their second substitution of the night. Of course, a half-time substitution doesn't concern one of your three sub-periods that you can make substitutions. So they've made their second change. David Brooks has left the field, and Marcus Tavernier is on in his place. One of the two changes made by Andoni Iraola for tonight's game. So Tavernier on, and already giving away a foul. Marcus Tavernier there. Free kick to Brighton. Pervis Estupiñán just kind of tugged by Tavernier, and a free kick for Brighton. A bit soft, really, but decision taken and given by the referee. And Brighton with a free kick. Minta and Gomez are over it on this wide left-hand side. Gomez will leave the area now. Minta will take. Left-footed. Whip round, and Van Hecke heads it behind for a goal kick. Good delivery by Minta. Van Hecke got up high and just kind of tried to glance it, but maybe got a little bit ahead of the ball and just kind of hit off the top of his head, and it bounced behind for a goal kick. But an early chance there for Brighton from the set piece, but no damage done. Well, that's a giveaway by Hill, and Mitoma was onto it, but he was well blocked by James Hill on the recovery. Just a throw in. Pedro a bit loose in his pass there. Tavernier finds Adams. He was brought down by Baleba. Free kick to Bournemouth. Well, Brighton have the better of these fixtures, the fixture between these two in the Premier League over the years, certainly recently anyway. Brighton have won 4 of the last 5 meetings between the sides, home and away. The last time Bournemouth won was in April 24. Before that, it was January 2020. The last time Bournemouth beat Brighton. They were both home games. Bournemouth haven't won at the Amex since April 2019 in a 5-0 thrashing of Brighton that day. They went down to 10, and a 5-0 victory for Bournemouth on that day. It was the last time they claimed 3 points in this stadium. And quite frankly, the only time they've claimed 3 points in this stadium in the Premier League era. Kluivert finding Semenyo. Back to Kluivert. Semenyo again on the left side, linking up with Kierkees. Adams. Kluivert gives it back now to Hill. Bournemouth pushing up the field a little bit more. Howson gives it wide to Kierkees, steps in field. Again, no real forward option. Gives it back to Howson, and gives it wide now to Kluivert. A lot of movement there from Bournemouth. Justin Kluivert trying to feed it in behind for Kierkees, well matched. Battling there was Adams into the box. Kierkees fed wide now. Kluivert trying to dribble past Minta. Wins a corner. There's Justin Kluivert, but Minta claiming the last touch was off the Bournemouth man, but the officials say corner. And that was met by a round of applause from the Bournemouth head coach. A lot better movement from Bournemouth in those areas there. They win this corner. Right-footed delivery. Up in the air and cleared away by Van Hekke. Baleba tried to keep it away. Back to Kluivert it comes. Wide on the left. Breaking into the box. Justin Kluivert across. And all the way through the corridor. Danger inside that 6-yard box. And too high for any of his teammates to connect with. Again, it's good sustaining of the possession and the pressure from Bournemouth. Good recycling of the ball the second phase. And Kluivert chips it across the 6-yard box. Ahead of Hill, ahead of Howson. And goes across and out the other end for a goal kick. Good opportunity. Well, there was no goal on that one for Bournemouth, but there's a goal at Stamford Bridge. And a 8:15 kickoff, and Chelsea have taken the lead against Southampton. Bottom side Southampton already behind after 24 minutes. Christopher Nkunku with the goal for Chelsea. 1-0 to the Blues there, and Chelsea would move up into the top 4 as it stands. So 1-0 to Chelsea. Another goal to tell you about, and that has come at Sellers Park. I was about to say Villa Park there, because it'll give away who scored. It is the visitors. They have now got their leveller, and it is, I believe, it is Morgan Rogers again, who had a goal disallowed in the first half. Retribution, and Rogers has his equaliser for Villa. 1-1. Here is Cook for Bournemouth into the box, and given away that by Estupiñán. Nice return ball now to Tavernier out in this right flank. Lays it off to Cook, who tries to whip the cross. Blocked well by Estupiñán. Up in the air as Cook couldn't win the header, but Tavernier goes down. A bit of a high boot there by Pervis Estupiñán, but it's going to be a free kick. I think it might have been offside there, is it? See this again. Oof. Yeah, it's a high boot by Estupiñán. Gets a bit lucky there that the foul wasn't given. It was offside, given against Marcus Tavernier. And he was a bit lucky there, because his boot was high and it did clip the right shoulder of Tavernier. Doesn't matter though. The offside was given. Hill headed forward from the free kick. And as Kluivert tries to win it back, gives away the foul on Carlos Baleba. A couple of niggly fouls given away by Bournemouth tonight. That will certainly frustrate Andone Iraola. As Webster stands over this free kick. Webster trying to swing it round the right hand side for Minta, but Kierkees has it covered and sees it out for the Bournemouth throw. Long ball for Bournemouth there, and that comes to nothing. Out for a Brighton throw. A little bit wasteful so far. I mean, I said in the first half Bournemouth were a little bit wasteful and weren't really targeting where they were most threatening Brighton. You know, those balls in behind, the movement in the final third was where they looked threatening, but it's not able to keep the ball for a sustained amount of time, and Brighton are just hanging in there, and they always have that threat because they've got that crisp and sharp passing ability, and one ball can absolutely carve you open. That's the type of team Brighton are at the minute. It's the type of team they've been all season under Fabian Hürzeler. Here they come again. Webster threading one down the left-hand side, to Estepinian, but that was well matched by Lewis Cook. The Bournemouth captain sees that one out for a goal kick. But of course we know these two have hopes and dreams and not expectations, but certainly the objective would be trying to battle for a European place to the end of the season. They're both well capable and both well equipped. Brighton actually the lowest amount of defeats of any team outside of the top two in the league. Only Arsenal and Liverpool have lost less games this season than Brighton. Albeit Brighton have the most draws to compensate for that. As here they come Bournemouth down the left side. Semenyo, Kirkes on the overlap, goes down. Is going to get a free kick, and Van Hecke is going to get a yellow card. And the referee explaining his decision to Jean-Paul Van Hecke, who really cannot believe it that a foul's been given against him. We'll see it again. Kirkes lays it off to Semenyo. Kind of off the ball, he just kind of clips Kirkes. I don't even think he knows he's there, really. Just clips the boot of Milos Kirkes. It's an accidental one, but it is a foul. And Jean-Paul Van Hecke gets himself a yellow card. Kirkes certainly was in a threatening position. With that run in behind, as I mentioned, that's where they look threatening. Now they have a set piece, Bournemouth. Kluivert whips it in. Almost finds a direct shot at goal there. Goes wide of the right post. Again, just whips it. Far too much pace on it. Too much height, and it's just another wasted chance, really. I mean, I would get it if it was if it was going direct to goal, but I don't think the analytics would have told him to do that from that sort of position. And his teammates certainly knew that was the wrong decision. And certainly not the best of executions as Kluivert goes down there. Fouled once again. Right on the halfway line. Bournemouth want to keep the pressure, get the ball moving quickly. Adams finding Scott. Lays it off to Cook. Scott between the lines, finding Tavernier. They've shown a little bit more intensity in the second half, Bournemouth, but again, still wasteful with their opportunities. They've had a lot more possession in the second half. Semenyo gets a little touch off Minter. Throw in taken quickly by Kirkes. Now Kluivert. Kirkes again on the left side. Back to Justin Kluivert on the turn. Plays it into Semenyo. Trying to backheel it. It's the right decision, but the execution lacking again. And as Semenyo tries to win the ball back, another cheap and niggly foul given away. Although the home fans are not happy, they wanted to see a card there for Antoine Semenyo. But the referee firmly keeping his cards in his pocket that time. Yeah, it's a little bit of a lazy challenge by Antoine Semenyo on Tariq Lamptey. It is a foul, definitely, but you could probably argue for a yellow card, but no card given. Webster, charging forward for Brighton. Now on the turn, Ruter. Time to shoot. Hits his own man in Pedro, who blocks the shot there. Mitoma gets a bit excited, gives the ball away cheaply, and Tavernier with a little bit of pinball up against Gomez, and it goes out for a Brighton throw. Again, the game in this tasty little period of ebbing and flowing again. The next goal absolutely crucial, deciding which way this game will go tonight. It's in the hands of God at the minute. Well, it's in the hands of the 22 players on the pitch. But metaphorically, in the hands of God as file another one given away by Semenyo. This time booked, and a cheer from the crowd inside the Amex from Antoine Semenyo there. Yeah, again, Lamptey, the one that's fouled. Yeah, it's a foul. And at this time, probably accumulation sees Antoine Semenyo get a booking, which certainly celebrated by the home fans. They were a bit peeved that he wasn't given a yellow card a little earlier than he has been. Free kick in a dangerous area here for Brighton. It's a distance out, but it's in a good space to be a threat as we hit the hour mark. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. And a free kick from about 28 yards out, wide on the right, or a bit to the right, sorry, of goal. And it's Diego Gomez who's standing over it here for Brighton. Body's in the box. Gomez wanted to hit it direct there. Come off the wall, deflected, and the shot on the turn from Ruter was into the hands of Kepa, who absolutely slices his kick. Far from confident that. Mitoma trying to break in behind. Got a nick to the ball, but Kierkegaard will mop it up. And Scott riding a few challenges. Plays it off to Kierkegaard. Bit of room here for Bournemouth. Down the left side. Semenyo now up against Lamptey. Antoine Semenyo. Kluivert. Kluivert will hit one! Oh my goodness! Justin Kluivert! That certainly goes in the mix for one of his best Premier League goals. He's been quiet tonight, but he has burst himself right onto the stage here. Absolute top drawer finish from Justin Kluivert. That is pure quality. Absolutely sensational. Bit of space down the left for Bournemouth. Kierkegaard finds Kluivert, just chops in field. Unmatched, takes on his man, chops onto the inside, onto his right foot, and just hits one. And an absolute peach of a strike over the hand of Verbruggen. And dipping, curling, looping into the far corner. Absolute wonder goal from Justin Kluivert. He's had his fair share of great goals this season, and that may be the pick of the bunch. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1, and Justin Kluivert with an absolute screamer. And could that be the little bit of inspiration that the Cherries need to get right back into this game? 1-1. Wow, what a goal. No matter how many times you see an incredible goal, they're just incredible every single time. Speaking of goals, another goal's gone in at Sellers Park, and Aston Villa's leveller didn't last very long, 7 minutes to be exact, because Jean-Philippe Mateta has put Palace back in front. It is Crystal Palace 2, Aston Villa 1. That might be a turn for the books. A turn up for the books, shall I say. It's 2-1 to Palace. Certainly had a good run of form under Oliver Glasner as of recent. But back here, Bournemouth might have the game in their ascendancy. They've been much better in terms of intensity in the second half. Got a lot more of the ball. They certainly weren't wasteful for that chance, was Justin Kluivert. Getting the levelling and the equaliser. Now they're in behind again. Semenyo. Too much on the cross. Far too much from Antoine Semenyo there. And they're looking like they're a lot more threatening now, Bournemouth. Something for Brighton to be a bit wary of now. Might be on the back foot here. Another goal at Stamford Bridge, and there's no real questions to what way it went. It's a second goal for Chelsea. Southampton are all but down now. They're not mathematically down, but surely now they will be relegated back to the Championship. After winning the Championship playoff final last year, they will be heading right back down to the second division of English football. And Pedro Neto, set up by the man who scored the opening goal in Christopher Nkunku. And it is now 2-0 to Chelsea. Chelsea, who've hit a little bit of a sticky patch in form. Lost 4 of the last 5 in all competitions, including their last 3. But here's Ouattara in behind for Bournemouth. Dango Ouattara from the angle. Goodness me, I thought there was another one going in there. He hits it wide. Wow. Got a bit excited there. Lovely through ball. Again, the run in behind from Dango Ouattara splits the defenders. And he charges through from the narrow angle. Try to hit it from that narrow angle across goal, and it just went behind. Bournemouth certainly more and more threatening. I said those runs in behind are causing Brighton problems, and I think they've noticed that now, and they're starting to play a lot more of those balls to runners in behind. Lamptey just holding on to the ball there. Van Hecke now to Gomez, who tried to square one through. Too much. Gotta say, I knew coming into this one tonight, we picked this game this week for tonight's game because we thought, what's the closest, what's the fiercest battle, what's the best quality game that we can kind of show tonight? And albeit our game might not have the most goals, but it doesn't matter, it's beautiful quality. And it's 2 evenly matched sides who have a lot to fight for and a lot to battle for coming into the final 11 games of the season after tonight. And it's just incredible what we've seen from both so far this evening. A win for Brighton tonight would have put them up to 8th as it stood, with Fulham and Aston Villa going above them now. Brought down in the box there. Maybe a bit of a inadvertent one. I wouldn't say a dive, but maybe a bit exaggerated, that from Jorginho Roots there. We'll see it again. Yeah, Scott just trying to challenge for the ball. Routier goes over far too easily. That's never going to be a penalty. And the officials looked uninterested. Kluivert, lovely little work. Finding Tavernier, back to Justin Kluivert. Chips his way past his man. Wants a handball, plays it through, and Adams will get the corner out of it. Maybe a bit lucky that there was a bit of a deflection. It's Kluivert who's come alive, and yeah, Baleba was sliding on the floor. His hand was along the floor, so could have called handball there, the referee, but played advantage, and Bournemouth get a corner. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really. Andone Areola, incessant that it was handball. I don't doubt it was handball, but the referee played the advantage, allowed the attacking phase to play out, and Bournemouth have a corner, which arguably is probably a better chance. Corner on the left side. Kluivert to deliver. Headed away at the front post by Diego Gomez. Cook gives it back to Kluivert. Not given the space to whip it in. Gets past Minta. Jinking his way around him as he goes in. Cleared away. Not very far. Semenyo and Tavernier will hit a curling effort. Too high and too wide from the Bournemouth substitute. Again, Kluivert's just come alive. Since scoring that wonder goal, he's just been the architect for everything good for Bournemouth in an attacking sense in these last few minutes. Lamptey pressured right back onto his own goal line there as he cleared it away. Didn't get very far. Tavernier picks it up. Tavernier shot deflected. Alex Scott. Oh, what a save by Verbruggen from point blank range. Ouattara keeps it alive though. Bournemouth on the verge here, knocking on the door. Adams with a cross. Way by Lamptey, not fully cleared. Kluivert brought down, no foul as Brighton want a counter here. And they might have a chance, they might have a shot. It's young Kuba Minta. Just behind. Mitoma takes a little bit of pace out of the counter. still alive here on the attack for Brighton. They'll recycle it back defensively. That was another little spell, a little moment where Bournemouth were on top and knocking on the door for a second goal. I said Brighton need to be wary. They really do. They might stave off a little bit of a threat because they're in the box here. Yankuba Minta trying to dribble past Kirkez. Does get the cross in. Mitoma across. Pedro on the turn. João Pedro couldn't get the shot off. And well marshalled by the Bournemouth defence there. And a goal kick will come the way of Bournemouth. Yeah, it was good work from Minta. Kept fighting for it. Kept battling. Did get dug it out there with a cross. Mitoma did well to head it across, and then Pedro trying to spin his way past James Hill. And Hill did really well to stay with him, but how close was Bournemouth at the other end? Tavernier's shot deflected beautifully for Ouattara. Scott was there too, but Ouattara stretching, reaching, and what a save at point blank range from Bart Verbruggen. Absolutely sensational stuff. And how big are those little moments, those little saves, those moments in games, fine margins. The difference between winning and losing. Semenyo taken down nicely, finding Tavernier. Overlapping is Cook. Cook with the delivery, and the shots from Ouattara is over the bar. Again, they're better again, much more fluid, much more precise, a lot sharper in the final third. Bournemouth, with just less than 20 minutes to go. Remains 1-1. I think there's some substitutes coming on here. I'm guessing for the home side because there's a lot of clapping going on. There is. So a couple of substitutions here for Brighton. Danny Welbeck's coming on to replace João Pedro. So the goal scorer for Brighton replaced by another player who's well acquainted with goals. Diego Gomez and Pervis Estupiñán are also making way. And Gruda and Ayari, as well as Hinchelwood, are coming on there. I don't think that's right. I'll have to double check that. Apologies. Brighton made 3 changes in one go, so a triple sub for Brighton. I can tell you it was Pedro, Gomez and Estupiñán who all went off. And I can tell you in a moment who's come on. I know Welbeck has definitely come on, and Yasin Ayari has as well. And I believe Jack Hinchelwood is the third substitution. I'll have confirmation for that in a moment because we have a couple of goals to tell you about. A third goal for the home sides at Sellers Park and at Stamford Bridge. It's 3-1 now to Crystal Palace and 3-0 now to Chelsea. Chelsea just coming up to half-time. Their third goal scored by Levi Colwill, and the third for Palace scored by Ismail Assar. 2 on the night for him, 3 so far for Palace. They look to be cruising to 3 points at home against Aston Villa. It's 3-1. Sides starting to take big advantages in their games. Fulham still lead Wolves by 2-1. They had the first goal of the second half of our early kickoffs. Nothing as of yet. They're checking for a possible offside at Sellers Park again. This is the only game tonight of the 4 R1 between Brighton and Bournemouth that is level at this stage. We have leaders in the other 3 games. Hinchelwood. Back there with Baleba. Back to Webster. All the way back it goes. Well, Brighton, of course, do have experience of European football. Of course, in the Europa League. Last season, I believe. Yes, of course. They finished, of course, top of their group last season. 4 wins out of 6 last season in the Europa League. And then ended up going out in the knockouts. But certainly made a good run of it in Europe. Bournemouth, a little less acquainted with European football as of recent times. course, they've had a massive rise to the Premier League over the last 10, 15 years, Bournemouth. The last 10 years. It's actually 10 years next season to when Bournemouth were first, this season, actually 10 years ago this season, that they were promoted for the very first time to the Premier League from the Championship. Back in 2014-15. They won the league that year, of course. 90 points, a point ahead of Watford that season. So they've had a meteoric rise, and that might be on the verge of European football nearly 10 years later. Incredible. Ruter, Danny Welbeck! Finding the far corner off the inside of the right post, and Brighton are back in front through their eternal man, eternal goal scorer, Danny Welbeck again. Big moments call for top quality and big players, and Danny Welbeck is undoubtedly that. That's a huge moment. Ball down the right side. Kirkes heads it into the mix, and Ayari plays it through on the turn, threaded through for Danny Welbeck, and he just side foots it past Kepa, who again commits himself trying to close the angle. Lovely little turn from Ruter again, and Welbeck absolutely trademark. Side foots it with the instep of his left boot, just clips it past Kepa, and off the inside of the right post, finds the back of the net, and Brighton are back in front. And a big, big, big substitute goal for Brighton, who lead by 2-1. That's a lovely goal. Lovely goal. Brighton, with a win tonight, would go up to 8th, above Villa and Fulham. They would be just behind Bournemouth on goal difference, and would be just a point off top 5 and 3 points as it stands with Chelsea winning, just 3 points off top 4. Quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. Danny Welbeck again. How many times has he got them out of trouble? How many times has he delivered? The 34-year-old still doing it at the top level, and it's his 7th Premier League goal of the season in only his 20th appearance of the campaign. He got 2 assists in the 3-0 victory over Chelsea, and he's on the score sheet tonight. His first goal in the Premier League since a 2-2 draw with Wolves here back in October, where he was on a 3-game scoring streak. Had a really incredible start to the season. Scored all 6 of his Premier League goals previously to tonight's goal up until the 26th of October, and hasn't scored until now since then. Incredible. But Semenyo wanting to bounce back. Kluivert with a cross for Bournemouth. Hinshelwood there to get it away, but Minta with a less than adequate clearance goes for the acrobatic one and hits it behind for a Bournemouth corner. The first one was poor, the second one was just crazy, and it will be a Bournemouth corner. Bournemouth have to do it all over again and trying to battle back for the leveller once more. And Kluivert over this corner on the left side. Right footed delivery. Headed on and headed wide. That time by James Hill. He got up in the air, he got a good header on it, but he just couldn't find the far corner. Couldn't direct it to the right area and towards goal, and it just hit wide. Header back there to Kepa. Over 11 minutes to go. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have another Premier League fixture for you. We're at Anfield as Liverpool, the league leaders, take on Newcastle. Also another chaser of top 4 in Champions League football. That's tomorrow, 8:15. And Liverpool 11 points clear at the top with a win tomorrow. Of course, 11 points clear with Arsenal with a game in hand, by the way, over Liverpool. Liverpool tomorrow night, if they can win, it would just again strengthen the sheer quality they have and the sheer belief that they could win the title. After tomorrow night's game, Liverpool will have 10 league games left of the season. Quite incredibly, 6 of them at home, 4 of them away to the end of the campaign. They would only need to win all of their remaining home games, Liverpool, to win the league. They could lose all of their 4 away games and still lift the trophy because they play Arsenal at home. Corner to Bournemouth. Headed down by Huyson. Still alive. Calls a handball. All the Bournemouth players calling for it. The referee says no. As Tavernier will switch it back wide. Kluivert with a little touch past Minta. Kluivert again. Lays it off. Tavernier sends it well over the bar. I think I might have took a deflection on the way through as well, though. 10 to go. Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. And maybe VAR checking for this. Huyson heads it down. And Van Hecke, his arm, did it connect with his arm? See it again. Yeah, I don't think that's a penalty. Yeah, it's not a handball for me. He's just trying to get the ball away from danger. It's not a penalty. And the VAR have agreed as Tavernier's corner is whipped in. Van Hecke to head it clear. Only as far as Semenyo. Was tussling there with Mitoma, and Semenyo wins the throw-in. One-two between Kierkegaard and Semenyo. Tavernier back across to Hill, and now Cook. Tavernier trying to find the run in behind. It was Evan Nielsen there. It was brought down. It will be a free kick. Forgot to tell you that Dango Ouattara was replaced by Evan Nielsen a few minutes ago. Was all caught up in the goal. And the change was made shortly after. So Evan Nielsen on for Bournemouth, replacing Ouattara, and he won them a free kick there for the Cherries. Of course, was injured for a while, making his second appearance. He was on the bench against Wolves. Didn't make an appearance in that one. Was stayed on the bench for the full 90. His last appearance before that was in a 1-0 victory over Everton at the start of January. So has had nearly 2 months out. Has had Evan Nielsen. He's back in the side and back in the squad tonight and back involved to the final 10-15 minutes. Free kick for Bournemouth. Round about the edge of the box. Tavernier and Kluivert over it. Tavernier plays it across to Semenyo, who got a good connection, but hit it straight low and hard at Verbruggen, who could easily gather. It was a nice idea, but again, a lot of Bournemouth's play tonight. It's been nice work, it's been nice ideas, nice kind of efforts, but just not great execution. Barring that Kluivert goal, which is absolute incredible execution. That's a nice ball in behind. Tavernier, or Evan Nielsen, sorry, brought it down well. Trying to use his quality. Evan Nielsen into the box. Lays it off now to Tavernier. Recycles it back to Cook. Evan Nielsen, Tavernier, Evan Nielsen. And Cook gives it back to Hill. Bit sharper from Bournemouth. 7 minutes of normal time to go. 2-1, Brighton still lead. Kierkegaard's on the run with Minta. Kept it in play. But Lamptey will tussle. And Kierkegaard's trying to keep it in play. Ends up putting it out for a Brighton throw. More changes. A foot for both sides. First, it is going to see Luis Sinisterra coming on for Bournemouth. So he's coming onto the field. First for Brighton, Carlos Baleba is going to be replaced here by Mats Wiefer. So Wiefer coming on, and Carlos Baleba replacing him, or being replaced by him, sorry. And the Bournemouth change, as I said, Luis Sinisterra coming on. And coming off for Bournemouth, if I can get the name and the number, that would be fantastic. The confirmation then, Sinisterra is replacing James Hill. So a extra attacker on the field for Bournemouth, and a straight swap in midfield for Brighton. Different objectives, different kind of game plans to the end here, to try and get a desired result. Tony Areola did say he wants points out of this game. A draw wouldn't be a bad result for them. He wants something out of this game tonight. He wanted 3, and if not 3, he wants 1, he said in his pre-match interview. And his team are currently on course for getting nothing out of this game. There's still time for that to change. Reminder for you that if Bournemouth draw, they will move up to 6th. If they win tonight, which looks unlikely, they will move up to 5th, because Chelsea will still have a better goal difference than them as it stands. So they can move up if they can turn this in their favour. That's a lovely little chest from Kluivert. Fabulously challenged though by Yankuba Minteh, with a great challenge. See that again. Beautiful little take by Kluivert, chesting it into space, and as he breaks into the box, Yankuba Minteh on the cover, sliding in, timed it to perfection. Corner Bournemouth, which Kluivert will take. Right footed, headed on the front post, bouncing down at the back. Tavernier to recycle. Goes all the way back to Cook. Now to Kirkez. Looking to keep applying the pressure. Kluivert's ball in. Punched away by Verbruggen. Will be a out for a throw into Bournemouth. 3.5 minutes of normal time to go, plus the additional time. Still quite a bit of time for Bournemouth to conjure up something. Scott on the turn. Gets it out wide to Kirkez. Now Sinisterra, finding Tavernier. Heavy touch. Lets him down as Brighton want a counter. Here comes Welbeck. Breaking through, finding Mitoma. Kaoru Mitoma down the left-hand side. Wants to return it to Welbeck, does so. And gives it back now to Lamptey. Skips away from one challenge of Semenyo, and now Mitoma. Mitoma couldn't find Ruter, cleared away by Huyson. Although Evan Nielsen couldn't hold it up, and one back again by Brighton, who just want to manage this to the end now. They're not in a major hurry. They'll just manage the game, although that's not good game management from Van Hecke. Kirkez had to force it clear from the pressure from Yankuba Minteh. That will be a throw-in for Brighton down the right side. Hinshelwood will take this throw in. The crowd a little bit more energetic in these latter stages, trying to carry their team over the line, and what will be a huge 3 points for Brighton. It'll be a massive 3 points for them, and what has been a great return to form recently. Oof, Mitoma almost finding a way through there, as Adams sends long. Again, too long, and Brighton can easily retrieve. Wiefer plays it into space, linking up with Welbeck. Back to Wiefer. And we'll just give it back to Hinshelwood. We'll find the run of Yankuba Minteh in behind. Huyson across. Huyson just about getting the better of that. Although Sinisterra gives it away cheaply. Welbeck, oh lovely. Oh, Minteh couldn't take it, and it's given away. Bit scrappily at the last few seconds. Mitoma going to grind. one of his other teammates as well on the ground, and Tavernier and Scott both claiming their innocence. It will be a free kick to Brighton around about the edge of the box. The first one, we'll see again, Tavernier stepping in on Wiefer, who went down. And then we see the second one, Tavernier battling. Ayari with a good challenge. And then Mitoma taken down by Sinisterra. So yeah, 2 challenges there. And certainly a free kick. Substitution for Brighton then. Solly March is going to be coming on, which is a welcome substitution from the crowd. Welcomed by the crowd, the 30-year-old. Has been playing a bit part role this season. Just 2 previous appearances in the Premier League for Solly March, and Jorginho Rutter, the one he is replacing. Brentford and Manchester United, his previous appearances, and they were unbeaten in both of those games in the Premier League this season. Free kick taken, kept around the edge of the box by Welbeck and Wiefer, as we will have 5 added minutes at the end of the 90 here. 5 minutes. Mitoma battling Cook. Cook comes away with the ball, but not cleanly, as Mitoma was battling there again. And that long clearance by Tyler Adams, again, straight out of play. Gifting the ball back to Brighton. Playing into Brighton's hands at the minute are Bournemouth. We have another goal for you. Coming at Sellers Park. It's an absolute thumping of Aston Villa tonight. 4-1 Crystal Palace. Eddie Nketiah with the 4th goal for Crystal Palace, and that more than confirms who's the better side there tonight. Palace 4, Aston Villa 1. Wow. Well, Brighton, as I said, that uptick in form since those back-to-back defeats at Everton and Forest. Now the only 2 defeats for Brighton at this calendar year. 4 draws, 6 victories and 2 defeats in their 12 games in 2025. But is it not going to be the end here? Sinistero! Good save by Verbruggen, and it just escapes the reach of Evan Nielsen. Oh, how close. How close. Still alive though. Kluivert's trying to find Sinisterra again. Forced away by Yankuba Minta. Here's Scott now. Kierkees back to Scott. Less than 3 minutes to go as Kluivert will hit one again. It's unlikely that you're going to hit 2 screamers in the same game, and there it was proven. Tried his luck. It was dipping, but it just didn't dip quick enough to beat the keeper. But as I was saying, Brighton, just 2 defeats this calendar year, and they were back-to-back defeats, but they're bouncing back to winning ways, and actually looking for their 4th win in a row in all competitions, their 3rd Premier League win in the row. And Chelsea, the victory against Chelsea in the FA Cup, the only other victory in their last 4. It'll be their 11th win of the season in the Premier League. And they will then have a little run. They have the FA Cup at the weekends. They head to Newcastle at the weekend on Sunday afternoon, and then host at Fulham a week after that in the Premier League. For Bournemouth, well, they also have FA Cup action against Premier League opposition. They host Wolves at the weekend. That's on Saturday afternoon, and then away to Tottenham in the Premier League next. About a minute to go, and Bournemouth have a corner here, and Kepa's come up for it. Talk about last chance saloon for Bournemouth. Kluivert's for the corner. Kepa's up. Justin Kluivert with a whip ball. Kepa was up for it. Got a head to it, still alive, as Verbruggen did very well at holding on to and grasping the ball under pressure. I think Howson was the one that was in the mix there, but Kepa got his head to that corner. It was certainly nowhere near threatening enough, but he did get his head to it. Not quite what we've seen previously from goalkeepers from corners. The last goalkeeper to score in the Premier League was Alisson back in 2021 in that 2-1 victory for Liverpool over West Bromwich Albion. It doesn't look like that stat is going to be updating anytime soon, as we have a couple of seconds left. That might have been Bournemouth's chance, although Verbruggen is receiving some treatment, so stoppage in play. There might just be one last chance, as it's finished at Molineux. Wolves 1, Fulham 2. We'll round up all of tonight's games to show you what the table looks like at the end of the fixtures, or at the end of our early kickoffs this evening for you. Verbruggen back to his feet, and maybe this might be the last kick of the game. It's up to the referee, Michael Oliver, now as to when he blows that final whistle. Kick from Verbruggen. It's not blown it yet. Kluivert. Semenyo wins the throw-in for Bournemouth. One last chance, surely. They have to be quick. Adams gives it back to his keeper. They want to get as many bodies forward as possible. Time is running out. Kepa's fizz ball, headed away by Van Hecke. Referee still allowing it to go. Adams clips it to Cook. Tavernier, one last chance. Adams ball forward, away by Van Hecke again. And I think they're going to give a foul here. A free kick to Bournemouth. And a late yellow card for one of the Brighton players. Might have been FIFA. Free kick for Bournemouth. This is the last chance surely now. Kepa to take it. Just around about the halfway line. A minute and a half over the 5 added. Kepa's ball. Round the back post. Up in the air by Sinisterra. Van Hecke to get it away. Not far away though. And that's a thumping clearance in the box. And that seals victory for Brighton. Time is up. The whistle is blown. And for the 4th time in succession, Brighton get a victory. They had to work for it. They had to battle for it. But it was Danny Welbeck, the experienced veteran, that got the winner in the end. Justin Kluivert put a little bit of a scare into the boots of Brighton with his absolute screamer. But it was João Pedro's penalty and Danny Welbeck's little dinked finish to the far corner that seals the result. A final score that sees Brighton pick up a 3rd successive league victory and a 4th win in a row. They are charging on to more European battles. Bournemouth, 2nd defeat in a row for Andoni Iraola's side. Defeat at home to Wolves and defeat away to Brighton in a matter of days. They need to find their form again, but they're very much still in the battle for European football. Final score on the South Coast at the Amex. It has finished Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. And that is the final score from all 3 of our early kickoffs. Still playing at Stamford Bridge. They've only started the second half not too long ago at the Bridge between Chelsea and Southampton, where Chelsea lead by 3-0. So let's round up the scores from our early kickoffs this evening then. So in this one, between Brighton and Bournemouth, it was Brighton that won by 2-1. João Pedro with a penalty after 12 minutes gave Brighton the lead. Justin Kluivert with an absolute wonder goal after 61 minutes got the leveller for Bournemouth. They were pushing for possibly getting a second, but it was the man that always finds the net, that always pops up at the right moments, in the clutch moments for Brighton, in Danny Welbeck, who got the crucial winning goal for Brighton after 75 minutes. Freed from desire is rung around the Amex. They feel Europe might be on the horizon once again. We will see. And Fabian Hertzler, what a debut season in charge of Brighton he's having. Elsewhere, Crystal Palace 4-1 winners against Villa. An absolute thumping of the villains. And certainly a bit of a shock for Unai Emery's team. But Crystal Palace, one of the form sides in the league, and they showed it tonight. Ismail Assar with the opener. Morgan Rogers thought he levelled in the first half, but that goal was disallowed by VAR. They then did get the equaliser in the second half, Rogers, but it was 3 unanswered goals for Crystal Palace that sealed the victory. Mateta, Sarr and Nketiah making it 2, then 3, then 4-1, the final score for Crystal Palace. All the goals came early in the other game, Wolves against Fulham. Fulham had taken the lead after in the first minute against Wolves tonight. Ryan Sessegnon with that opening goal. João Gomez then levelled things for Wolves in the first half minutes later, before Rodrigo Muniz with the winning goal in the start of the second half, sealing the victory for the Cottagers. A much needed victory after losing to Crystal Palace at the weekend. Their 11th win of the season for Fulham. It's not quite the bounce that Wolves would have wanted after their victory against Bournemouth at the weekend, but they're still 5 points clear of the bottom 3. And as I said, it is Chelsea 3, Southampton 0. 58 minutes gone in that one, and Chelsea still lead by 3-0. Nkunku, Neto and Colwill with all the goals in the first half, and Chelsea cruising seemingly to another big 3 points, which I can show you makes a big dent in the table. Let's show you the table then, as it stands, with Chelsea winning and Southampton losing and all the other results categorised and synced into the table. Liverpool still 11 points clear at the top, but Liverpool and Arsenal will play tomorrow. Arsenal head to Forest, Liverpool host Newcastle, and Forest looking to close the gap on Arsenal if they beat them tomorrow night, as 2 of the top 3 meet at the City Ground. 4th place, Chelsea are in action tomorrow. Are in action at the minute, sorry. They're winning by 3-0. They move up to 4th with a victory tonight, and they are currently winning and going 2 points ahead of Manchester City, who play tomorrow night against Tottenham. So City in 5th, Newcastle in 6th, and then the teams we've watched tonight. Brighton and Bournemouth are the next 2. In Bournemouth above Brighton, only on goal difference, both on 43 points. Fulham with a big victory up to 42. Villa down to 10th on 42 points. Just outside the top half then, Brentford on 37. Palace up to 36 with a big victory against Villa. Tottenham with a chance to keep that fight for a top half place alive tomorrow if they face City. Everton in action, along with Manchester United and West Ham. They're in action on Thursday nights. Those are the teams that are well clear of relegation. Wolves just outside the relegation zone, but 5 points clear. But those teams below them, Ipswich and Leicester, have big games to come later in the week, and to try and close that gap and keep their hopes of safety alive. Right, that's it from us tonight. Chelsea still winning 3-0. But tomorrow, Brentford host Everton, Ipswich head to United, Forest and Arsenal, 2 of the top 3 meeting, Tottenham and City, 2 sides with very different angles of the season. Spurs looking for any sort of retribution this season, City looking for Champions League football. Liverpool is our game tomorrow at hosting Newcastle, as we watch Liverpool look to try and make it a 20th league title and get a step closer to that, as they face Newcastle tomorrow, who are also chasing European football. That's it from us tonight. As I said, Liverpool-Newcastle tomorrow, 8:15, so a bit later than tonight's game. That's 8:15 tomorrow. But tonight is Brighton, that might be feeling a bit of European glory on the horizon for them. Bournemouth are battling too. The European battle is wide open. Brighton certainly getting the victory tonight. Night-night.